the Studio Cuts podcast with Taylor with WRRV.
This is the Studio Cuts podcast. Hey, it's Taylor from 92.7, 96.9 WRRV, and the Studio Cuts podcast is where we interview artists that were featured on Sunday Studio Cuts, our new music show on WRRV. Today, we're talking with Carolesdaughter. She's a new artist who made it big on SoundCloud and now has a major record label deal with a huge hit single out now. Her real name is Taya Taylor, and she lives at home with her parents, but currently she's staying out in Beverly Hills. So Taya, what is it like out in Beverly Hills right now?
There's not much to do, but as far as COVID goes, it's actually funny. They were, because Temecula just did not shut down, ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. So for us, we're over here in New York, and we were like the epicenter of everything. We're pretty close to New York City, so it was shut down for a really long time. You're no stranger to hard times. You've been very open about your experiences with drugs and with rehab, but you came out on top after your last trip. What was that last stay in rehab like, and what made you determined to get into music when you were out?
I think the main thing that was so effective about that place is just the fact that I stayed there a long time. Didn't get the chance to I just really sunk in. It had been too many years in and out of treatment, and I was about to turn 18, and it just kind of felt like the right time.
Did you create any music when you were in there?
Yeah, I wrote I don't know the exact number, but probably 130 songs just while I was there because there was nothing else. I didn't have my phone, obviously, internet access. All of my was just going into making music.
Did that really shape the way that you created music and what you created?
Yeah, I wrote a lot. You can tell where I am in life, looking at the content and stuff. I talk a lot about, my experience with addiction and stuff. What's interesting is, I sometimes would use, the NA Big Book as, a inspiration, because that's, kind of the only books we had there.
You've definitely had an interesting life. Besides rehab, you're one of 10 kids. What was that like growing up?
It kind of feels like there's three separate families, because there's the older kids, and then there's the middle kids, and there's the young, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like we're lived with siblings because I just wasn't born yet. So it's definitely interesting to have the age gap of 20 years. My older sister made it really I wanted to be unique, I wanted to stand out. 9 other I'm competing with, you know what I mean?
Did you ever really hate having that many siblings sometimes?
I did sometimes, but I it any other way. But I know it's really unusual.
It's definitely unusual, so I think it's so interesting for people to hear about that because they don't really get to experience it themselves, obviously.
Well, it's not, honestly, not too unusual for Mormon families. There's a lot of big Mormon families. That's kind of a stereotype.
Mm-hmm. Your name, Carolesdaughter, is to honor your mom. What made you decide to do that? First, I just love my mom. But I think the most amazing thing that has come out of me, doing music and getting sober and just kind of becoming myself is I never thought I would have the relationship with my mom. I'd be myself and be proud of me. But it's just cool to show that things can change and my parents are really accepting now and we have a great relationship. And my mom is literally the hardworking person I know. I've never even heard her curse, smoke a cigarette. She's never tried alcohol or caffeine, anything. And so we're kind of really opposite, but it doesn't matter, Yeah, and I think that's really something that a lot of young people who identify with you and your music, I think that's really great for them to hear that there is a chance of having a good relationship with your mom, with your loved ones. So I think it's really important, and I think it's great that you do have that too.
Yeah.
You have such a distinct look that a lot of people, your fans obviously, but then just young girls in general, people on the internet really identify with. Is there anyone who gave you style inspiration, or was it kind of something that you found on your own?
The internet. But, honestly,
It's just progressed to where it is now. Like, I've always had really interesting style. Like, even when I was younger, I would just specifically go thrifting for like I was like find like the ugliest grandma sweaters, and that was like my style for like a year. I've just always kind of like stand out and not do what somebody else was doing. And so now I just look like this now. So that's where it is.
Do you see yourself changing your style in the future, or you just kind of go with the flow, really?
You know, I don't think I'll ever not be some sort of like punk, because I have spent too much money on like the good brands and like the good clothes. I to get my use out of that for at least like 20 years. So I don't. This is changing anytime soon, but we'll see.
I think that's a good way to look at it. And you're living the dream of so many artists right now. You've become a star from uploading your own music to SoundCloud, and now you have a major record deal. What was it like to get that kind of success so fast?
It was really crazy. It was really crazy. But it's something that like, everyone else around me freaking out, and they were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And like, but for me, this is what I made my whole life. And like, I've always just I've always just really confident about like, oh, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to do this. And I've just always said that. So for it to happen, like, yes, it happened super fast, and it's like such an amazing opportunity, but it did feel like right and natural, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Would you have any advice for someone who's trying to take the same path that you did?
I would say if you have people around you that you can and that you know, do your and like just protect your art.
Your breakout hit, Violent, sounds super sweet, but the lyrics are anything but. What is this song about?
The song's about, like, I think it's about a lot of experiences. It's not a specific relationship or anything, but it's about just wanting to get a little revenge, but you're still, like, just super hurt. And, yeah.
The music video for this song combines like gore and goth with this sweet lace and stuffed animals and this really interesting imagery. What was your favorite scene or setting to shoot in?
Oh my God. I honestly, like, I love that video, and the whole experience was just so amazing. It just felt like a dream, like it was awesome. But I think my favorite would be like the bathtub.
What was your favorite part about it?
Well, it's inspired by artist. It's Junji Ito. He's like a horror, like anime manga artist. And so he has this picture of this girl in a bathtub, water's black, and there's floating head. The director knew that we really liked that art and came up with the idea that we should like recreate it. So it just felt really cool.
What can we expect from your upcoming album? It's set to be released this year.
I have so many songs I have to pick from, but I have two that I'm really crazy about, and one's called Please Put Me in a Medically Induced Coma, and the other one's called Trash. And I'm just really excited because Please Put Me in a Medically Induced Coma is kind of an older song, and like I wrote it after rehab, and to this day they still like it, and like even though I'm not even there, it's a really close to my heart song, so I'm super excited to put that out. That's definitely going to be on the album.
Do you have any plans or hopes to tour? Well, of course, when you're able to safely.
I totally want to tour. I think it's going to be absolutely insane because of when this all happened, like COVID. It's going to feel like beginning of COVID, nobody knew who I was, and then as soon as COVID's done, you know, maybe I'm going to tour. It's going to be like a whole new world. So that's going to be exciting too.
Is there one city that you really want to go to for when you're touring?
I want to go to Berlin. I heard that nobody does, and that if you do, you're like the hero.
That's awesome. All right, my last question for you. If anyone were to go to your city, what is the one thing they have to do?
Oh, God. Go to Speedy Smoke Shop.
Speedy Smoke Shop. All right. I think that's the good advice. Thank you so much for hanging out with the Studio Cuts podcast. Make sure to check out Carol's Daughter song Violent and look out for their album when it's released later this year. Thank you so much, Taya.
Thank you.
And don't forget to catch Sunday Studio Cuts, a new music show featuring all of the up-and-coming alternative music, hosted by me every Sunday at 10 p.m. on 92.7, 96.9 WRRV. Join us next week as we interview another up-and-coming alternative artist on the Studio Cuts podcast.